the 9-inch, and we made 9-inch cakes, so it's going to be pretty darn close to the same size. Cakes, if they're baked and mixed properly, they're going to shrink a little bit, and that kind of provides us with almost the perfect amount of space to fill in with icing. Okay, see that little white peeking out there? If I were to fill that all up with icing, that would be a pretty good, accurate estimate for how thick it should be on the sides. Then I'm also going to grab a 10-inch waxed. Notice how this one's shinier? This one's in the box back here. This is going to be what we're putting the final product on. So grab one of these, put it somewhere where it's going to stay clean, please. Go back here. Okay, so in that PowerPoint I just showed you, they sliced off the top, serrated knife. Don't ever put your hands in the direction where the knife is going. I know it seems like common sense, but if you're slicing up cakes, especially if they've been in the freezer for a while and it gets really tough inside the middle to do it, all of a sudden you cut through that cake and bam, I've done it. It sucks. It gets right in your hand. Man, these things are sharp. Don't do it. Always keep your hand. Is there any lefties that I have to deal with? No, okay, good. You're all normal. So we're going to always put our left hand on the top and then slice with our right. And the key to slicing a nice even slice is locking your wrist up. Okay, don't move your wrist. I should be able to come and like punch you and you shouldn't move. Maybe I'll try that. So make sure that you lock your wrist. This should be perfectly level, parallel with your table, and then saw. Use the sawing motion to saw off the top dough. Now, some people throw this away. Some people save this. It's good for if you're making like a big bread pudding. You could save the cake scraps for that. If you're making those cake pop things, everyone's seen those. You could save it for that. I'm just going to set it aside for now. So I've got a nice flat top. Okay? Now I'm going to slice this into 3 equal layers. It's a good idea if you have, do you have those little metal things with the rulers on the side? Those came in everybody's kit. So can somebody grab me one of theirs? I'll show you guys how to do this with your ruler.
So if we had refrigerated cake, should we just do that after it's done? Or is it easier to refrigerate it?
It's easier to work with cold cakes, I think. I like
said you can
freezing
color it
cakes
if you want.
and then pull them out and slice them right away. I think they're less crummy that way. I always do. Okay. So it kind of so happens that you see this little negative space before the inch line starts. That happens to be just about the same thickness as the cake board, which is pretty nice because you know that from that line, it's all cake that you're measuring. So I'm going to hold this up here, and I've got exactly 1 3/4 inches. So 1 3/4 inches divided by 3. I have a calculator. We're going to be technical about it. Everybody's cake is probably going to look different. So that's about 0.58. So it's about a little over 1/2 inch for each layer. Okay? If you don't want to measure it out, that's okay. If you want to try to eyeball it, that's okay. But it better look pretty darn close for each of the layers. It better look pretty similar. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up here. And just at about a little over 1/2 inch, I'm going to insert my knife. And I'm going to stay there. Okay? So now I'm keeping my eye on it. I've got my knife in just where I want it to go. I want to make a nice even cut all the way around. But I'm going to first start by rotating and cutting just the outside edge first. And the more I saw, the further in my knife is going to go. I don't want to try to keep going all the way at once because it's not, chances are it's not going to be perfectly level the whole way across. This is the easiest way to keep it nice and level. And then you kind of created yourself a little cutting guide because you can see the slice. So you just follow that all the way through. Okay. And you'll feel it release. As soon as you get through that middle part, you'll feel the release. Now this is one layer ready to go. Now I know this layer I just have to cut in half. Okay. I'm going to eyeball this and cut this right in half. You can measure it again if you'd like. so there's my layers. So I'm gonna start, I'll start with the bottom layer. Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start backwards. I'm gonna flip this bottom layer up, and then that's gonna be my top because this is nice and flat already. This was on the bottom of the cake pan, so I'm gonna save that for my last layer. This one. Okay, so I decided I'm not gonna have quite enough of this, so I'm gonna use my chocolate fudge. And I like to try to use a little spatula for the middle. You don't have to, you can use a bigger one, but this fudge is kind of thick, and if I'm using this, it's really easy to pull up wider surface areas, so I can sort of daintily work this around with my little spatula. Possibly a little bit more. And there's plenty of extra chocolate icing. That's another reason too. I want to encourage you to fill with the chocolate, because if you need more for the outsides, we've got plenty of bags over there. Okay, so this is all in the wrist as well. Make sure that your wrist is controlling all of your action here. And these little offsets are really cute and nice. They've got that little bend, hence the offset name. That's what makes it offset. I like to put my finger right on that bend and kind of control it that way. So I'm using this to sort of spread out. I'm doing this very lightly because I know if I yank this up and then yank up cake with it. So I plopped my little plop in the middle of the cake, and now I'm working on pushing everything out to the sides. And I might need to add a little bit more. Make sure that your icing is nice and warm and whipped up before you do this. Actually, I think I'll be okay with the amount. Just get it pretty close to the sides. If you need to scoop a little bit more out and work it in, do that. Whoop. So if that happens, don't keep going, just spread it out like that, very gently, work some more icing back in, because really what that's saying is that you don't have quite enough icing there. Very good, so try to get it out as close to the edge as you can. That's not going to be how we're going to fill most cakes, but for today that's how we're going to do this one. Set this layer on. If I was soaking the layers with a flavored syrup, I would be doing that between, but this is a really moist cake. Remember, this is a convenience cake. Baked off really moist. Get some more fudge in the middle. You should probably take one of these up to FFP too. I think they would enjoy that. Has anyone had German chocolate cake? Oh yeah. It's a good one. It is a classic cake. So if you wanted to write about it, you could. It's actually not German, like from Germany. Does everybody know that? This is not a German tradition at all. The name German is the last name of the guy who invented it. He's American, I think. Okay, so I'm spreading this out, and then I'm just going to run spatula through to try to even out that layer too. The more evenly stacked I can get this, the prettier it's going to look when I slice it. Okay. And now my last layer. I'm going to flip it so I've got the flat part on the top. Now I'm just going to be scraping out of here. I'm not going to use, this is a totally different technique than what we're going to do for most of the other cakes. I'm just going to scrape what I need out of the bowl and directly apply it to the sides with my big spatula. And you can use the offset larger spatula if you want to. You don't have to. I like the flat one, but you guys have an offset one, right?
Yes.
So use whatever you think is going to be most comfortable for you. And I don't mind that the crumbs show on this. Remember, we're masking the sides. I just want to make sure I apply enough icing so I can stick those nuts to the side. So it's definitely going to be crummy, so do not fret.
is that just because the cake is so moist?
Yes. Because the cake is so moist and the fudge icing is so dense. It's really good to have consistencies that match. And since we're working with something that's a little off, that's why it's going to be a challenge today. I could also whip this up a little bit too if I wanted by hand.
If you wanted a smooth layer on the outside, would you crumb coat it and then do a layer?
You could, absolutely. But between your crumb coat and the final layer, make sure that you refrigerate it
Okay.
and chill it so that that crumb coat gets nice and hard. Otherwise, you're just going to pull up the crumb coat. I'm going to beat mine a little bit more. Seems really cool. That one in the back that's been going for like 10 minutes, that one's going to be really nice. Yeah, look at how much lighter that got just from whipping that up just that brief little time. And as your other buttercreams sit throughout the class, they're going to lose a lot of their smoothness. They're going to become more airy and bubbly, so you're going to have to just take a time out and re-whip eventually. You may find it easier to control with the little one too, that's why I'm switching. Okay, so now I've covered most of the sides, but I've still got this top edge that really needs to start looking a little bit better. So the only thing that's going to help that is adding more icing. So try to get your icing all in one corner of your bowl so you can easily scoop it out, and then just apply the top. So I'm just doing this in as few motions as possible. You can see the more I rock at it, the more it looks really nasty like that. So I'm just trying to take fluid motions, one nice fluid motion to take a lot of icing and bring it up over that top edge. That looks like a disaster. Okay, so there's all of this now that I need to bring that up over the top. And then also it's just not happy cake today. So what I'm going to start to do, if I'm seeing that things are falling off the edge, I'm going to start to pull it up over the edge. And I'm going to use the furthest away edge of the spatula from me to sort of pull it tight in. Okay, this is what's doing the work here. Okay, then I can kind of see where I need to add more icing. So this spot needs more. So I'll apply the icing and then I'll pull it away. And I want to scrape my spatula also between swipes because any chunks that are left on there are also going to pull away at the icing and make this even messier than it already is. See how it just left that little bit there? If my spatula is clean, it's not going to leave little marks like